What is up, everybody, and welcome back to TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm Jacob Turner, and joining me from the Spectrum Center in Charlotte, North Carolina, it's our very own publisher, Andrew Jones. And AJ, we've been starting the podcast and then stopping because 7 million people come walking by and yell at the top of their lungs. I think we finally got it now, is the Tennessee team walks in.
That's Dalton Cadet walking in.
I mean, I'm just glad he's not
Colorado and the Colorado State cheerleaders right over there. So we're just going to have to do it the best we can. And I'm placing my laptop on a power device. We're just going to have to wing it best we can. I've spent a half hour trying to find a spot. I had someone from the NCAA try to help me find some quiet areas, and they were going to let me use the meeting room, the NCAA meeting room, but they were in a meeting. So
yeah, of course they were.
So
of course they were.
We'll just wing it. We apologize once again. I think people know by now that there's always some form of chaos that comes with us trying to do one of these. That's the Colorado State cheerleaders making all that damn.
Yeah, screaming their head off. Yeah, it's what everybody's been doing for the last 20 minutes as we've sat here trying to hit record on this impromptu podcast.
They're probably very energetic because they had a lot of sleep last night watching the team that their team beat in basketball. What a disgrace that was.
Oh, it's just I checked the score at one point because I wasn't watching it in the beginning, and I checked the score, and it was like 38-16, and I was like, is this like a high school basketball score, or is this like a Division I NCAA tournament score? It's unbelievable. The team could score.
It's like that league when I was a kid where if you scored, the scoreboard was plastic, and it stood up like that, and it had those rubber numbers, and you'd flip it over. Mm-hmm. So there was like green ones with white numbers, red ones with white numbers, you'd flip it over. You know, it's like 8-6 at halftime in the 9-year-old league.
Unbelievable.
Tony Bennett should coach the 9-year-old. Look, Tony's a great coach, and he'll be in the Hall of Fame because he's done an amazing thing. But he must change. He must adapt with the times, or he's becoming a meme. He's becoming a joke. And that's too bad because that's not a joke program. And when you have the right guys, it works. But it's not going to work anymore. We're going to talk about Carolina in a second. But Justin McCoy told me last year, the year before, that he said it takes 2 years to learn how to play that defense. He's like, I just figured it out, and then he hit the portal because he didn't like playing it.
It's brutal.
So. Yeah, and then there's the offensive side of things. So
yeah, anyway. They got to get that fixed. The team that doesn't struggle offensively like UVA is North Carolina. Yeah, appreciate that. That's why you're that's why you're in Charlotte at the Spectrum Center. Carolina had its, pre-NCAA tournament, pre-Wagner press conferences and media and open practice, whatever the heck you want to call it. There's about 17 different titles I think you could have for it. And you've been there to soak it all in, AJ. So let's start with, I know one of your favorite, we can talk about open practice a little bit later. Let's leave that for last, but let's just talk about the media day circuit you went through. I know one of your favorite things is to talk to the players in the locker room, get a little bit of insight. You've always told me it's some of the best interviews come in those in the NCAA tournament media days when you can just kind of go one-on-one with players in the locker room, very relaxed setting, and get some really good quotes. So anything that kind of stood out today from media day?
Yeah. Adam Smith and Adam's one of our competitors inside Carolina. I have no problem bringing it up because I have all the respect in the world for him and for what they do. And he and I were actually with Harrison Ingram, and just the two of us talking to him for about 8 minutes. In fact, we had to run the video in 2 parts because Eric Hoots thought that the interview time had ended, and I stopped recording and I had to hit start up again. I'm not technically inclined to merge the videos, so we're rolling it as 2. As you know, I'm not. I'll learn to do that if I go to class for 50 years, 365 days a year. Then I might learn how to merge videos. But anyway, I'm looking around because there's just lots of chaos going on here. So we were talking to him about a variety of things. One of them was I asked him. I told him. I said, Saturday night when I walked out of the locker room, and I think I said this on our 3 things. So the vibe I got was that you guys collectively were a lot more disappointed in the way you played and how you approached the game than you were the final result. Mm-hmm. And I talked to someone with Carolina's program the other day, and they said they felt the same thing. They agreed with that. So I asked Harrison, and he totally agreed. Because the result was a byproduct of the way they approached it. And sometimes you need that last little reminder. Sometimes things are going so well, you got to be reminded of what you appreciate in life. And in general, you could have a lot of great things going on, and it's always good to have reminders so you have the proper gratitude and appreciation. I get that when I come here to the tournament. I complain about a lot of stuff, video time and Wi-Fi everywhere, and the travel kicks my rear end sometimes, and it's a lot of work. But when you get to have access like this and experience this and just see the excitement of the kids that you've covered all year and you know what their mission is, it's an absolute reward. It's very gratifying, and it's a reminder of partly why we do what we do, because we want to experience these things as well. So the players had the healthy reminder about, hey, you guys should know by now that when you don't approach games the right way, you're not totally dialed in, which was the case Saturday night, because I said before, the only other time I saw them that loose during warm-ups was up at Syracuse, when they're just joking around. And I saw a lot of joking around Saturday night. So they know that. The other thing is, they know that when they get off the bus and they're not ready, that means that, I talk about the bag that you bring to the court. The bag has already been packed. You don't go back to the hotel and find the stuff that didn't make it into the bag. It's just not going to be there that day. So you have to get super resourceful to win, which they were unable to do Saturday night. Part of it was because they didn't have the third score. So a lot of things didn't work in their advantage because they didn't have the proper wiring and readiness to be able to take advantage of those things, but have things go their way. So much of it is not about making shots. So much of it is not about getting rebounds. So much of it is not about making the right pass or the right read or getting back on defense. There are 1,000 other components to why a team plays well and why a team doesn't play well. And this team was smacked in the forehead with the reminder of all the don'ts. You don't do this, you don't do that. I wrote my column about it, and today, talking to some of the players, extensively with Harrison about it, with somebody in the program, it told me that everything I saw was validated, and they got it too. They saw it, they felt it, they tasted it, they heard it as well. Mm-hmm. So because of that, I think that they're approaching this the way you want them to approach it. It's tricky as a one, getting ready for a 16. I talked to the guys about how they watched Wagner and Howard last night, and people would be interested in knowing how that happened. I'm going to write a piece about it, and how they're getting ready to play a club that hadn't been on any of their radars any time in their lives. Cormac may know about it because Wagner's from Staten Island.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Staten Island. But otherwise, RJ may know a little bit about it. Elliot may know a little bit about it. But I mean, they weren't looking at Wagner. They weren't going to Wagner basketball camps or anything like that. It's Wagner.
Yeah.
So now they're playing those guys, and they have a neat story themselves. So I think that they have brought that bag. The bag was here in the arena today. They didn't have a game today, but it was here in the arena today. I saw some pretty serious workouts in the drills today during practice. I saw pretty good focus. I saw a team that had a nice balance of being relaxed and ready. And now it's the day before the game. They got to make sure that they bring the right bag tomorrow, a full bag tomorrow. But I thought that they had it today for as much as I could tell, given our access. And I think that should be a positive. That should ease some of the concerns that maybe some Carolina fans have.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's always cool to get that kind of insight from, like you said, guys in the locker room and those kind of relaxed environments like you've gotten it today. Let's talk about open practice a little bit. I mean, I know it's always a fun event. I'm sure some fans in attendance there as well. Vibes should be really high. I was looking at some of the USA Today photos that are posted on our portal link that we have, and it looked like the vibes were pretty high. A lot of smiles, a lot of good times seem to be going on in Charlotte, which is always the case with shoot around. I think every team's feeling pretty good about themselves going into the tournament. And no matter if you're Wagner, North Carolina, you're definitely riding a high going into things. So talk to me about open practice. Anything eventful from that? You did post some videos on our YouTube channel as well, so go check those out. But what insight can you give us from that?
And I posted about 20 photos on Twitter, a lot of them on our Facebook page, and all of them on our site as well. Well, first of all, I talked to the Wagner band. They came out because they had their open practice after Carolina. So the bands take their place where they're going to be during the game. They have cheerleaders and everything. That's why the Colorado State cheerleaders were here, because Colorado State had just finished its open practice. Mm-hmm. And I saw the Wagner band. I'm like, oh God, they're already here. Because they played last night in Dayton. So I went up to them and I said, so when did you guys get here? And this girl says, 2 a.m. We landed about 2 a.m. I said, wow. I said, where are y'all staying? She said, at a DoubleTree about 15 minutes away. So what it does, it starts bringing you into the reality of this is kind of cool, and this is a whirlwind that they're suddenly on. So I said, so how surprised are you guys? One girl said 10 days ago, 12 days ago, the last thing on my mind was being in an NCAA tournament. They were 13-15 in the regular season, and they won their conference tournament playing 3 road games. And then they beat Howard last night in Dayton, and here they are today. It's so cool. It's cool that you see that the big eyes that they have being in this environment. They're going to play North Carolina, and they're probably just tickled pink because you never know. They could shock them. They could shock the world. I'm not a big shock the world guy in terms of using that term a lot, but I would say it now, especially since they're New Yorkers. They probably use shock the world all the time. You know, the Giants beat the Eagles, shock the world, that kind of thing. But I really enjoyed 4 minutes talking to them and getting their vibe. And one girl said, she goes, we are so exhausted. She goes, but it is so worth it.
Yeah,
so again, perspective and appreciation that I was talking about earlier. That's everywhere. That's what I love so much about the NCAA tournament, because there's so much optimism when you show up. You're in a special club, but it's a big club, but there's no guarantee you're going to be in that club anytime soon, especially when you're a Wagner. You haven't been in it for a while, or I don't know how long it's been for them. And even in North Carolina, they weren't in it last year. It's a privilege and an honor for everyone to be here, and I got that vibe from Wagner. I wanted to bring that up because that is a big part of what this is all about. Those kids will probably never get this chance again, and they're going to roll out on the court tomorrow. That's why I hate the playing games being teams like Wagner versus Howard. Howard should have the same experience tomorrow that Wagner's going to have. They need to change these playing games and make it all for the at-large teams. You win your conference championship, you shouldn't have to win another game to be on the bigger stage. I think that's ridiculous, and hopefully that gets tweaked. So, but as far as the Tar Heels go, yeah, they were loose, but they were serious. I saw some good work in the drills. And one of the videos I shot, I have Sean May teaching for about a minute. He's teaching Jalen Withers.
That's interesting.
Teaching him about footwork, teaching him about a little bit of a spin move. It's about refinement. The average person may not see what needs to be fixed, but of course they do. Someone is trying to roll something in through.
Hey, we're battling, man. We're battling over here trying to do this podcast. It's fantastic. I mean, you gotta love it, man. We try to get these out for the people, but like we have to battle through them sometimes.
What was I saying?
You're talking about Jalen Washington's footwork with Sean May.
Oh, yeah. So Sean's doing some teaching. You got Sullivan doing some teaching. I shot 3 videos. Now, they didn't do their dunk fest at the end like they always did with Roy. And then they didn't sign a bunch of autographs. Paxton Wojcik signed 1. Armando signed 2. Hubert, I think, signed 1, and that was it. And one of my favorite things is when they sign autographs for fans, because it's a cool video. I get right up there with the players. Like, I'll be touching a player, essentially, because you're in sort of a mini scrum, and the little kids that are yelling stuff to them that want them to sign. I love that moment, too. Again, this is what you don't get during the year. Every once in a while, on the baseline, someone will yell out to a player and they'll come over. And I actually got Seth Trimble one time to come over to a kid who was wearing a Seth Trimble shirt, but he was sort of shy. This is in the Dean Dome. But here it's different, because it's just a different energy, a different vibe. It's the one place probably in America right now where everybody's happy.
Yeah.
You know? There's a lot of misery. There's a lot of people who love misery. If you love misery, don't walk into these halls today. No. Because it's a fun day. It's an optimistic day. It's a celebration of a great sport that is still thriving, especially in our area. It's thriving. And to see the Carolina players out there, especially RJ was all business, and Armando, they didn't get to do this last year. They went from playing the title game to being preseason number 1, and this was taken away from them. So I think the whole approach, and this goes back to what we were talking about 10 minutes ago, I think there is a business-like approach, but a relaxed business-like approach. Cormac was in the tournament 2 years ago, had a nice little run. So he knows what it's like to win. He knows what it's like to lose here. Harrison, this is one of the reasons he came here. I asked him a really convoluted question. I should have done a much better job at asking the question, but it was about, you came to North Carolina and this is what you're thinking you're going to be in, but they didn't do this last year. So was there any second guessing that maybe North Carolina's not North Carolina anymore? He said no. And he came here to make North Carolina, and lo and behold, North Carolina is right back at its perch that has been for the most part of the last 55 years. If you go back to 67 when Dean started his Final Four run, that's when everything changed. That's when the Church of North Carolina basketball really became a big. I think we're having an avalanche here in Charlotte now. So.
We're battling, AJ. I respect our ability to make it through this one because it has been a grind, but we're doing it.
I just think today's a celebration, Jacob. And maybe I'm getting older and I'm getting more nostalgic and all that, but I think this team has had a hell of a year. If they don't make it out of the weekend, it's still a hell of a year. I think there's danger with Mississippi State, more so than Michigan State. There's the Colorado State basketball team now walking by.
Everybody.
That guy must be a freshman because he's carrying all the water bottles. Here they are. Colorado State Rams.
There they are, baby.
I would love to pull them aside and ask when I'm not playing UVA. Unbelievable.
Yeah, get an exclusive interview.
So that's to me what it is. Oh, there it is, this thing. We're really having a hell of a time here, aren't we?
Hey, we're battling, man. Your video got a little blurry a few minutes.
If I can make it through this without needing bandages, then we'll be all right. That's my theme. That's my narrative from today. I think they're in a good frame of mind. There's a lot of good spirit around here. There's some good basketball teams in this building. Carolina's got a tough draw because Michigan State's Tom Izzo and Michigan State. If you don't ever count against him, he's taken some teams like this to Final Fours. He knows what the heck he's doing. And then Mississippi State reminds me, and I got a lot of this from David Siss. So I went and watched a lot of Mississippi State because David saw him in person last weekend in Nashville, I guess it was, the SEC tournament that he covered it there. And he said that they're a lot like Texas A&M was in 2018. Last time Carolina played in the NCAA tournament in this building, Joel Berry senior year, Theo Pinson senior year, and Luke May was a junior. They lost to Texas A&M in the second round. And Texas A&M, can you hear that?
Yeah, we can definitely. Sounds like it sounds like I don't even know. It sounds like a firefighter, unraveling a ladder or whatever you call it. Is what it sounds like going on.
People in Guam can hear that, I'm sure. So
great.
I don't even know what I was saying. This is great. We're working through this, and I'm forgetting everything I'm saying because all the distractions.
Hey, we're battling. We battled through this podcast. You know what I mean?
I'm just going to go back and say what I said. This is the repetitive AJ podcast here, but I think they're in a good frame of mind. They've got some tough games. Mississippi State's really good. That's what I was talking about. They're really good. They can be really good in a game. They lost to Georgia Tech too, by the way, this year. But they have big, beefy bodies. They can rebound. They can defend. So that could give Carolina some trouble, but I think the Tar Heels will get out of this weekend, and I'm really looking forward to seeing their skip and jump Saturday. Tomorrow is tomorrow. Wagner, they got 7 scholarship players. Wagner hasn't held a live formal practice since December 27th. They practice. They do stuff. They had to pull kids in from the campus to put uniforms on. There's 7 scholarship players for all of conference play. And they were 13 and 15. They had to go on the road, and they won their conference tournament, and then they won Dayton last night. Don't think they're not resilient.
Yeah.
Don't think they're not going to come out and play loose, play aggressive, take it to the Tar Heels, and they might hang around for a while. You never know. Or Carolina could blow them out of the water from the first minute. Yeah. Who knows? Just whatever Carolina, if Carolina plays really well and they have all those things that people look for in them, they just make sure that they bottle it up and bring it the next game, because that's the one where they're going to have to strap it on, literally strap it on. They're going to play 2 teams that probably practice without baskets a lot.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. There's no doubt about it.
Special. Take down the rims.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game and obviously an interesting weekend for the Tar Heels, but I think we battled through this one enough. I think we've given the people at least something to digest ahead of tomorrow's game against Wagner in the very building that you're in right now. We apologize for the background noise. We apologize for the video quality. At times, it's just we're trying to battle through this, and I think we've done a pretty good job, AJ. So we'll pat ourselves on the back and keep it moving.
In closing, the NCAA is not very accommodating to the media.
Well, God knows how many
we are a necessary. So what now?
I say God knows how many people are in that arena right now. you know.
Not a lot, not like tomorrow. I'm
but
fearful
still,
what the Wi-Fi is going to be like tomorrow. Tomorrow is, last week in DC, I had to go outside the arena to upload videos, and then Saturday night they wouldn't let me back in, even though I was uploading right outside the media entrance. Oh, the arena's closed. I'm sorry, my stuff was in there, guys. Anyway, who knows where I'll upload tomorrow, because the Wi-Fi in this building, as you know, always sucks.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Sucked when Carolina played Oklahoma. It sucked when I covered the Hornets, or they were the Bobcats back then. It's always sucked in here, so who knows what it'll be like tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll get some check back here to find out.
I'm still happy to be here, Jake.
Yeah, of course, man. I'll always and I'll be there later this weekend as well. I'll be at the Saturday game, so looking forward to that, and looking forward to if Carolina wins, obviously on Thursday. I don't want to jinx that by any means, but I should be there this weekend if Carolina advances past that first game. But I've been Jacob Turner. He's been Andrew Jones. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. AJ's got work to do. His computer might explode trying to suck in as much Wi-Fi signal as it is right now, trying to make this thing last. So we probably do need to get out of here quicker rather than later. Appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell too. Go ahead and check TarHeelIllustrated.com. Links in the description below. You can sign up for just $8.33 a month, but go over there to see all the coverage from today. AJ will have some written pieces coming up. Might be up by the time this video comes out. We've also got the press conferences and some video from open practice as well. So go check that out. Appreciate y'all watching as always. See y'all next time, guys. Thanks.